Hello again. All right, picking up Lucy again. This has been frustrating. I figured I wanted to get the other ending, good ending, whatever you want to call it. It what followed was 2.5 hours of gameplay. Me just trying to try other options and skipping through things and lots of saving and reloading and just getting frustrated. So I'm probably too agitated to properly appreciate it. But apparently I had to consult walkthroughs to figure out and they suggest that there's some meta stuff you have to do outside of the game even to to get to the true ending. I'm not 100% certain how much truth there is in that. I I, um, I think there may have just been a certain combination of choices. Like you have to. I feel this is at the epilogue here. This is Lucy's already been burned, and the repairman's just told you that she's not repairable, and he's questioning, do you regret it? So you get to this point, apparently, from what I've been able to deduce from walkthroughs and from all my playing around with it, is that first of all, you have to endear yourself to the repairman. You have to be honest with him, and you know, be nice to Lucy around him and impress him and so on. But you also have to keep the flyer for the serial guy, and you also have to look for Lucy when she goes missing, and continue looking when it prompts you for it, because you run to the serial guy there too. So I guess the serial guy plays into it. And it's only if you do all of that that repair guy asks, do you regret it? Yeah. Apparently in previous games, I record them. I'm not even going to bother posting the other recordings. It's like 2.5 hours of me just sitting here skipping, trying other options that, like a vast majority of the other options, just make minor changes in dialogue. So I just, yeah, it's all amazingly frustrating and time consuming and just boring. And I'm probably not in the right state of mind to appreciate how amazing the true ending is going to be. But here goes. Do you regret it? Regret it? Yeah. About finding about Lucy. Do you regret it? I ponder for a moment. If I'd known that it would end like this, maybe it would have been better not to have met Lucy at all. If I never found out about her existence, if I never picked her up at that junkyard in the first place, maybe I could have been much happier. I try to place myself in a different scenario. Yeah, you don't regret it. So, according to the walkthrough, if you say I regret it, it goes to the ending that I've already seen. So you have to say don't regret it. After some of this case, I don't know, without hesitation, I replied to the repairman's question. I don't particularly regret it. I don't plan on doing so in the future. I see. Cameron quietly stares at me for a good long while. Anyway, I've been short on hands around here lately. Short on hands? Oh, he's gonna give me a job? Yeah. Did you ever consider working here? Can't afford to pay you that much, but if you're all right with that, I'm willing to take you in. Build some work experience. Teach you a lot of things. It'll be tough to find someone as skilled as I am, you know. So how about it? I normally wouldn't be inclined to take up such an offer, but now things are different. Well, but now did that just say now things were different? Like it changes from present to past tense within the sentence. Oh, this needed proofreading. Oh well. Well, working here doesn't sound particularly bad. I'll be sure to think it over. That said, I head towards the exit. So presumably that's going to, that whole plays in with the whole butterfly effect thing, and he's going to get into robotics, and it's going to change how that epilogue turns out, right? 20-year later thing. I open the door, I was like, okay, this is different now. I open the door, step outside. I'm immediately greeted by the chill wind of autumn. While zipping up my jacket, I look up towards the sky. I spot a glimpse of sunlight shining through the cracks between the clouds. For some reason, I find the spectacle mesmerizing. It's truly breathtaking, even on this cold day. I'm sure Lucy would have loved to see this sight. Just think about it, it makes me laugh. better not be all there is to it. Damn you. There's going to be a different epilogue after the credits, though, right? There better be after all this. There better be one hell of an ending to this, Maddie. For putting me through this. Maddie D being the guy who got me to play this game in the first place. Half wondering if I should pick this up later when I'm a little more calm. I mean, I'm sure maybe I look calm. I'm just okay. Skip the 20-year later thing, and it's back at the okay. Yeah, there's something different. October 12th. Huh. Data memory restored October 12th. Oh, did the attorney she wished for and ... Was that booting up thing with Flash's memory? Was that did he rebuild Lucy after all? Is that what that getting a job in the robotics field is all about? Did he put her memories back? Lost robotics thing again. October 12th, Doctor. So... Today is October 12th. Lucy. What is it, Doctor? You have somewhere to go today. With a grim expression, I whisper softly. Somewhere to go? Does Doctor mean outside of lab premises? Precisely. That's pretty unusual. It'll be Lucy's first outing in a long while. Is it someplace far away? It depends on how you look at it, I reply calmly. Is it an important matter? Could very well be. All right. Without another word, Lucy begins to trot along behind me. Andrew? Yes, Doctor. I leave the rest to you. Understood. Have a safe journey. Safe journey? It does imply they're going far. We're going for a walk to the junkyard. Is this where she's being thrown out? Where does Doctor wish to go? Nearby junkyard. The junkyard? That's right. Does Doctor have some business at the junkyard? Doctor? You'll see once we get there. Oh, this is great. We're seeing a flashback to her being thrown out. Because we never did find out how she ended up there. Attempt to sound as natural as possible so as not to raise any alarms, but it appears that she's seen right through my facade. Lucy, who is now aware of my serious demeanor, begins to cower slightly. After that, there aren't many other exchanges between us. Both of us continue to walk in silence. After a while, I decide to steal a glance at Lucy. I notice that she's trying to read my face without making it too obvious. To tell you the truth, yes? No, actually, it's nothing. Doctor? To finish my sentence, I keep my mouth shut. Lucy tilts her head in confusion. She repeatedly opens and closes her mouth. About today... Her dialogue ends prematurely. After failing to get any response out of me, Lucy turns quiet. Continue our walk without exchanging another word. We only continue to walk in dead silence. I thought the junkyard was behind the building or something. Are they going to the junkyard? This messes up her courage once more. It sure is chilly today. Is Doctor not cold? I'm fine. Is that so? How far is Doctor planning to walk? Until they reach the center of the junkyard. The center? Yes. Lucy guesses that there must be something there. No, there's nothing there. Oh, great. Then why? conversation veers into silence once more. I feel sorry for Lucy, but I sincerely isn't. I sincerely am not in the mood to talk. With heavy footsteps, I carry on. We enter the junkyard, a place rampant with ear-deafening noises. A place that's constantly filled to the brim with waste. After taking a deep breath, I continue on my way. Suddenly, Lucy breaks the silence once more. Doctor? Doctor? What is it? Can Lucy ask something? Go ahead. Did Lucy do something terribly wrong? Aw. Did Lucy do something she wasn't supposed to? What are you talking about all of a sudden? Lucy can tell. Lucy can sense something's wrong even if Doctor plays dumb. Doctor's trying to get rid of Lucy, isn't he? Her words throw me off guard, but I quickly regain my composure. They said that animals being taken to the slaughterhouse can already sense their approaching death. I'm not surprised that such a brilliant android like her is able to read the mood. I decided to tell her the truth. It's just as you say. I was planning to banish you from the laboratory. Banish you, Lucy Valentine, from the premises. Why? For what reason? Is it because Lucy is a bad child? Is it because Lucy isn't the perfect android Doctor has been hoping for? Has Lucy failed to meet Doctor's expectations? Doctor, please give Lucy an answer. Lucy is begging on her knees, so please give her an answer. The authorities finally made an official decision. I was ordered to get rid of you. Get rid of Lucy? Yeah, I kind of figured it was going to come to that. I mean, that's definitely seemed what was being foreshadowed in the conversation by the authorities earlier on. Get rid of Lucy? That's right. You've definitely turned out wonderful. But the risk we face by keeping you alive is too great. Humanity will suffer more compared to what we would gain. Do you understand? That is why they're getting rid of you. It's what a lot of people want. After long, countless debates, this is the decision they ended up with. That Lucy's existence, your existence, is too great of a threat. That they will not allow such things to exist, such beings to exist. They do not wish to create a world where hundreds of millions of androids like you will be running amok. That is what everyone said. Lucy, in the end, you were rejected by human society. It was decided that you will not be allowed to coexist with mankind. Ah. So in the end, Lucy did not succeed. Essentially. I'm not too bitter over their decision. I was expecting it from the start, actually. The only thing I was concerned about was time. Time it would take them to make this decision. Yes, choices always remain the same. Even now, nothing's changed. Yet Lucy refuses to accept the inevitable. Lucy may not be an excellent android, but still, Lucy believes that she could change. Incidentally, October 12th, didn't this start in like around the 20th or something? 22nd, I think it was. So she sat around the junkyard for a while then. Anyway. People may despise Lucy now, but with effort, Lucy believes that she could change for the better. Lucy believes that she could become more suitable to Doctor's liking. Lucy will do better. Lucy will try her best. So please, don't leave Lucy behind. There's something you need to understand. Even if you're allowed to stay, things won't be the same anymore. It's not possible for me to keep you at the laboratory any longer. This decision was agreed upon by nearly all the people who are aware of your existence. It's simply out of my hands. However, I have no intention of letting you be crushed to bits. It would be unthinkable for me to do such a thing. Someone who has stayed by my side all this time. That is why, feeling like my insides are being torn apart, I look straight into Lucy's eyes. I regretfully spit out the following words. That is why, starting today, October 12th, I grant you freedom, Lucy Valentine. You are liberated from your duties at the laboratory. You no longer need to listen to anyone's orders. Aha! So is that why she's Is that why she disobeys the laws of robotics? Does he have the authority to give us such an order? And you're free to go wherever you wish. Go wherever you wish and do whatever you wish. Yes, travel wherever you may choose, and find a good master, someone who will sincerely care for you, and live unhappily with your master. That is my final order. Lucy remains silent. Did you just hang around the junkyard for 10 days then? She stands frozen with her head slouched forward. It appears that Lucy is too late. No matter what Lucy does now, she will be abandoned. I don't reply. This time I'm silent. Then Lucy should treasure this moment as much as possible. If it was his intention to like let her free and find a new master, why did he bring her to the junkyard? Did he have to do that to like for the sake of pretense, for show, so that everyone else would believe that he junked her or something? Give her a puzzled look. Since this will be the last time Lucy is able to go on a walk with Doctor, the last time Lucy will be able to spend time together with Doctor, Lucy will need to savor this moment. Lucy manages to force a smile despite being on the verge of breaking down in tears. Can she break down in tears? Can she cry? She steps forward. She motions toward me with her eyes, hinting that she wishes to resume our final walk together. I nod and begin to shuffle my own feet along. Our destination is merely a few meters away, but my feet feel leaden. Each step forward takes a lot of effort, for both Lucy and I. Not a word is exchanged between us. We are silent for the rest of the way. There's got to be more to this. There's a gap of time, and there's some unanswered questions here. Anyway, finally we have reached our destination. Here we are. This is where we part. It's time for you to choose your own path. The head cast low, Lucy remains silent. Then she slowly raises her eyes. As this moment, I relinquish all of my authority over you. From now on, you have no obligation to obey any human being. You are free to live as you please. Whether you choose to live as a human or reveal your identity as an android is entirely your choice. Just as long as you're happy. There's no response from Lucy. She doesn't seem to be paying attention to my words. She's staring vacantly at a certain spot along the ground. Puzzled, I call out to her. Lucy? It's the same CG as before. It takes a while for Lucy to respond. Her behavior is most peculiar. Lucy, I can't fathom her expression. She continues with a flat tone of voice. It feels like Lucy has always been dreaming. It feels like Lucy has always been trapped inside a very long dream. In the dream, Lucy is lonely. Lucy was always well looked after, yet there's a constant feeling of emptiness inside her. Lucy's time at the lab was most certainly enjoyable. Everyone treated Lucy very kindly, yet it felt like there was something missing. It felt as if there was a gaping hole in her heart. Lucy has always wondered why she felt this way. Lucy has wondered for so long, yet the answer has always eluded her. Only now, Lucy finally realized why. My heart skips a beat upon hearing those words. It was only after Lucy had arrived here, my heart, which once had been frozen solid, is now thumping furiously, that she was finally able to discover what she had lost. Her quivering eyes turned to face me, made her gaze full of anticipation. Well, I guess she can cry. It's been a long while, Master. With eyes full of tears, Lucy's smiling at me, just like her old self that I used to love so much. Oh? While saying the words I'd been hoping to hear for so long, calling me Master while smiling cheerfully, like I'd always dreamt about. There's a scene I've been fantasizing about every waking moment. I speak in a quivering voice. 15 years. It's been 15 years. That's how long it's taken me to get you back. Aha! There's the plot twist. He did say in the earlier, maybe this is not a flashback, but a flash forward then? From the moment I lost you in front of my home. Okay, yeah, Doctor's protagonist. Oh, hey! We learned our protagonist's real name, Dr. Ryu, then. Anyway. So much time has passed. I worked very hard all those years. I majored in robotic engineering despite my hatred of the subject. I traveled all over the world to learn from the most renowned experts in their field. I was able to repair the broken parts and make them new again. I reached the workings of your internals. I mastered a variety of skills requiring intensive training, and I spent nightless days trying to recover the memory chips that were damaged beyond use. It wasn't exactly a walk in the park, and after all these years, I was finally able to restore you. But when you woke up, you didn't recognize me at all. I had failed to recover your memories, and after that my confidence spiraled down. After seeing that you really couldn't remember anything. After hearing you call me doctor instead of master, after hearing you talk about wanting to meet your master as soon as possible, after meeting your unfamiliar gestures and watching your unfamiliar gestures and smiles, I couldn't be sure if you really were the same Lucy from the past. That's why I thought that if you weren't the same Lucy that I knew from the past, if you weren't the same Lucy that had once held me dear, that you deserved a fresh start with a different master. Thought maybe there would be another master for you out there that could get along with you better than I ever did. Just thinking about it was painful, but I thought maybe that would be the best for you. And that was why I decided to send you off. Your decision to get rid of you had only made mine more resolute. I've been planning to part with you on this day all along, because it was the day when we first met, at the place where I first found you. Was it October 12th? For some reason I had October 20th anyway, in my head. That's where I first found you. I intended to bid you farewell, which is why I brought you here, but I restrained from sobbing. But you remembered me. You finally remembered me. I almost collapsed from exhaustion while waiting for you. It really did take a frustratingly long time. But in the end, you remembered me, and that's all that matters. Lucy has definitely said this before, right? That Lucy would remember. That she would remember her meeting with Master at this place no matter what. That she would never forget. Does Master remember? I do. And now I can trust you. Even though you were destroyed beyond recognition, even though your memory chips were damaged beyond repair, even with all that, there really was something left inside of you that contained your identity. And now, I can trust that you are the same Lucy I used to know back then. Lucy can also... No. Lucy shakes her head and corrects herself. I can also trust Master. And she's first person pronoun again. Nothing has changed about Master even after 15 years. Master still needs me. Even after 10 years, 20 years, or 30, Master will undoubtedly continue to depend on me, so now I can place my trust in the eternity the Master wished for. I wish. The eternity I truly wished for. Before I realize that the tears are already running down my cheeks. It tastes salty. It truly has been a long time. It really has. Every passing day has been absolutely grueling. Now, Master can take a well-deserved rest. I've been so lonely all this time. Master won't be lonely any longer. I've lost many things, all the time I could have spent with you, all the memories I could have made with you, 15 years worth of my life. I've lost them whole. We can get them back. It's not too late. Slowly but surely let us regain what we have lost. Together, let us turn back the clock. I'm still worried. Is the Master in front of you really the same person from the past? I may have changed in some inconceivable way. Master has not changed. I have aged somewhat since we last met. I've gained a few pounds. I've gotten some wrinkles here and there. Nothing absolutely nothing has changed. If he was 18 before, he'd be 33 now, right? Come on, I'm older than him. Then there's my beard. I've just let it grow over the years. However, if you're fine with such an unsightly man like me, will you come with me? Will you continue to stay by my side? Of course. Because my master, whom I see before me, truly hasn't changed in the slightest. Master looks just like his old self that I used to be so fond of. And I know for certain that Master will never change. That is why I'll remain by Master's side for all of eternity. Just from those words, I'm saved. After my exhausted mind has deteriorated so much with time, those words were enough to properly soothe the pain and suffering. That's all it took to satisfy me. That's all it took to acknowledge that my efforts weren't in vain. I'm well aware that Lizzie is an imitation. She's the closest imitation to a human being compared to anything else in the world. It's just that, to me, she's worth so much more than anything real. Lizzie in front of me who's shedding tears for my sake. She's someone I care for dearly. Losing her had affected me far more than I could have ever imagined. I was already forced to part from her once. Never will I lose her a second time. And now, I will chase the eternity I wish for, together with Lucy. Aw. That's certainly a much nicer ending than that other 20-year later epilogue. So, are we sure seeing credits again? Probably being too hard on looking at the credits. I'm probably being too hard on the translators for the grammar errors. So apparently the key to having the better happy ending is to not regret the time spent with her. Achievement unlocked unto eternity. Extra unlocked reunion. Yeah, during my the aforementioned 2.5 hours of this looks different. Did you catch the light? Wait, what? What? Okay. Are there other things to click on here? Eternity you wish for and what I wish for. Yeah, that's neat. Yeah, Trying to connect this up with my thoughts from the previous video, I was saying, what did I say? I was a while ago. Um, I kind of wondered whether spending more time with Lucy would have made protagonist or Dr. Ryu a better person. Um, like just like more empathetic and stuff, and not just generally not follow in the footsteps of his father, really, because he's as I've mentioned throughout this playthrough, he's showing lots of signs of following in his father's footsteps in terms of like the whole technophobia aspect of it, and just being unempathetic to people who he perceives to be different from him, whether that's women, or there was that weird comment about trans people, or it's just generally being antisocial, like kind of like you get the feeling his father's also really antisocial. Yeah, and you especially get a sense of that in the extra, which I played through during Old Man's Wish. Aha, Old Man's Wish replaced with Reunion. Okay, yeah, I had a feeling that would have to change too. I recorded it, but it's part of that 2.5 hour session, which I'm probably never going to see a light of day. It was just because it was just me being frustrated. I played through the Old Man's Wish, and it's a scene from the perspective of the protagonist's father from when he's an old man, and he's just become this bitter old man. Just kind of hates the world and is just constantly frustrated, and he's grown. His son has grown estranged from him. His son protagonist still apparently got married and kids and all that stuff that happened in the 20-year later epilogue. They've lost contact with each other, and it ends with they're supposed to meet for dinner. Like he's supposed to come over. He hasn't been to his father's place in 2 years, and he doesn't show up, and instead leaves sends a letter to his father, which basically says, we've obviously grown apart. It's probably for the best for both of us that we just don't see or interact with each other again, because every time we meet, we just fight all the time. So that scene just ends with his father being all bitter and sad and alone, and at the end, he has a moment of almost clarity where he wonders if he should have treated his son better. And then he dismisses it as like, no, it's obviously all his fault. So like, even after all this bitter sadness, he still didn't even learn any lesson from it. But now there's a different scene called Reunion, so presumably this is going to be a happier version of that. Let's see how that goes. Play again from the beginning? You know what? Why not? Just go through the whole thing. I have a feeling that it's going to be the whole scene of Old Man's Wish plus plus instead of a letter, it's going to be protagonist's head. It was early morning. Chirping of birds could be heard through the window. The old man, who was a light sleeper, slowly opened his eyes. Lazily sitting up in bed, he scowled at the almost blinding sunlight. Then he slowly rose, walked over to the windows, and closed the curtains. As curtains came to a halt, everything became quiet, as if he had muted the television. Darkness engulfed the 16 square meter sized room. Even after opening his eyes, the old man continued to sit in his bed, staring into empty space. It appeared he hadn't fully woken up yet. Pardon my intrusion. There was a sudden knock at the door, followed by a feminine voice, oddly devoid of emotion, which caused the old man to snap out of his trance. The old man slowly moved his gaze toward the entrance of the room with an indifferent stare. A woman, young enough to be his granddaughter, made an appearance at the door. "Breakfast is ready." Her words lacked the kindness expected in such a familiar relationship. The formal, rigid manner was reminiscent of how an employee would address their superior. "Bring it here." Obeying the old man's order, she quietly entered the room. It's PM model 023, so it's 22 generations later from Lucy. She placed the food upon a fold-up table beside his bed. It was a light meal consisting of toast with scrambled eggs and bacon, and a lovely salad containing a wide variety of vegetables served with coffee. Instead of expressing gratitude for bringing his meal or giving a morning greeting, the old man decided to say something else. "What time is it?" "It's currently 6:12 a.m. Master has woken up 4 minutes later than average this month." Her voice sounded noticeably unnatural and dull. Yet the old man did not seem to mind. Lifting his cup of coffee from the table, he took a sip. Balance between the amount of coffee mix and water was nothing short of perfect. She was aware of how the old man preferred his coffee, and had been providing the same coffee every day without fail. It's not just the coffee. The breakfast laid out before the old man was also the result of a carefully calculated balance between his tastes and required nutrient intakes. Silveroids, androids that specifically cater to the elderly. The changes in society and advances in technology, traditional familial duties are becoming outdated. Nowadays, it's rare to see people taking care of their aging parents themselves. Instead, they would give them a premium silveroid as their designated caretaker. The old man once more skimmed through the newspaper article he'd read a few days ago, so that the gratitude of the offspring correlates to how advanced of a silveroid model they sent to their parents. The one in front of him was the PAM series model, undoubtedly considered one of the best out there. "Master?" Seeing that the old man had stopped moving, the android voiced her concern. From those words, the old man awoke from his daydream and proceeded to carry a piece of toast to his mouth, while crunching down with familiar crispness. He began to reminisce about the past. "Now that I think about it, it's been quite a while since you first arrived here." There wasn't any visible reaction from the android. She continued to stare into the air while maintaining a rigid posture. "How long has it been since your arrival?" "It has been exactly 10 years. "I see. Time sure flies." She was the present his son had bought for his birthday after the old man retired from his work. Technically, the android in front of him was not the same model he received back then, but an upgraded version of it. Whenever the old man's birthday neared, his son would religiously send a newer version of the model. Then the memory chip from the previous version would be inserted in the new one. The Silverade had gone through 6 upgrades so far. Apparently, many new features were added with each successive generation, yet the old man had difficulty understanding the subtle variations, and familiarity of the new models only made him feel uncomfortable. "Master?" From a repeated calls of Master, the old man shifted his focus back to the meal. "It's nothing." "Could it be that Master is not feeling well? When people get old, they naturally turn sentimental. It can't be helped." After letting out a small sigh, the old man placed a trembling hand on his forehead. "Old memories just keep coming back to me even when I'm only trying to rest." "Does Master mean good memories?" "Yes, there are some good ones. Good or bad, they all come back, though." She's an android he once had actively rejected. Yet being left alone after a recent divorce had somewhat altered his views. So he got divorced again. As an old man who had only paid attention to his work life, it was obvious that he wouldn't be able to handle the housework on his own. He tried hiring live-in housekeepers, but found the arrangement too uncomfortable, so it wasn't in his preference to live together with someone unfamiliar. Yeah, see, there's the antisocial thing. After he had experienced numerous failures, he finally decided to try the Silverite. He still had a lot of trouble with the robot at first. She nitpicked about the smallest things and ambushed him in the washroom every day with her examinations and whatnot. At first, it was very stressful for him. However, humans are adaptive creatures. With time, he eventually adjusted to a routine, keeping his complaints down to a minimum. In fact, he became so dependent upon the convenience of having an android that the old man wasn't sure if he would be able to survive without one. I have to get up now. Take us away." Android put on a puzzled expression as the old man weakly set down his fork. "Master is finished? The master has not yet met the recommended nutrient intake. I don't feel too hungry today. Then just to be safe, today's morning examination will have to be more extensive than usual. I expect nothing out of the ordinary, but there's nothing wrong with being cautious." "How am I supposed to find the time for that? I have to go to open my shop." The old man rose as he stubbornly replied. "Master must not avoid the examination entirely. If Master insists, I will do my best to get through it as quickly as possible." The man clicked his tongue in annoyance. Only a few years ago he would have gotten furious in a similar situation, but he's used to it by now. After shaking his head, all he did was quietly stare at the android approaching him. I'm maintaining the past tense in my narration because this one's consistently past tense. Anyway, after the examination, the old man made some preparations, leaving and headed towards the front door. Andrew set aside the chores she had been doing and approached the old man. Will Master be leaving now? Yes. The man went through his usual routine, but today the android appeared to be a little tense. After a moment of hesitation, she carefully spoke up. Master, what is it? I was thinking maybe Master should avoid going to work today. Why is that? It's been confirmed that Master isn't in very good condition. Please consider taking the day off. Those results from the examination he had taken in the washroom moments ago. It was true that his body felt heavier when he woke up. It seemed that he had caught a cold, but the old man dismissed the Silverite's concerns with a snort. Just this, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. The android stopped the old man, who was preparing to leave once more. She was persistent in her attempt to get her message across. Apparently, in case of emergencies, her typically meek personality was programmed to become more assertive. As mentioned, it's not necessary for Master to go to work today. It's fine if Master leaves the store work to me and rests at home. No way. What if you get robbed or something? How are you planning to deal with that when you're not even allowed to hurt people? Yeah, well, how would you deal with it if you're robbed, Mr. Whatever? There are many ways to subdue people without inflicting bodily harm. That's ominous. She knows Kung Fu. There's also an alarm feature that will alert the police to arrive on the scene in less than 5 minutes. Stop talking nonsense and stay at home. Keeping our home safe is a job too. What if this place gets robbed? It seemed like the android wanted to say something, but she eventually lowered her head. After giving her a look of disapproval, the old man left the house. All this, what if the place gets robbed? Like, what if it does? What difference does it make where you are? Whatever. Anyway, the place that the old man arrived at was found to be a tiny, ordinary supermarket. This is he started himself, near his home after retiring. Being in the quieter areas of the town, the business wasn't exactly booming, but at the very least, he'd always managed to earn enough pay for his expenses. It wasn't like the old man was hunting for hunting for cash, though? I think I'm supposed to say hurting for cash. That's the expression. His lifetime savings was already enormous. Yeah, hurting for cash. He wasn't hurting for cash. And the monthly allowances from his son was nothing to scoff at either. He could spend the rest of his life without having to work at all if he wanted to, yet he was the type of person who would focus on work all his life. Unlike others, he never bothered going on vacations or spending time abroad, mostly because he didn't know what to do with his free time. He wasn't flexible enough to try to find a new hobby at this stage of his life. Since he had thought about nothing but his work all his life, all he could do was to find some more work even after retirement. The store remained vacant even after its opening. Several regular customers stopped by as time passed, but today still seemed especially quiet. Sometimes coworkers from the company he used to work at would come visit the old man. He'd always been a little out of touch concerning family matters, but he was well respected at his workplace back in the day. Whenever they paid him a visit, the old man would reminisce about the past and share stories that usually over drinks. But that seemed unlikely today. Inside the quiet store, the old man passed the time by cleaning and checking the inventory. It was when a bit of time had passed and the old man was sitting at the counter reading a newspaper. At the usual hour, the android stopped by the store. Is everything fine? The android offered greeting with that dull voice of hers. She was carrying a large sack. He only knew what it was without needing to look inside. She placed the sack under the counter and proceeded to unwrap it. I brought Master's lunch. The moment the old man caught a glimpse of the lunchbox, he let out a deep sigh. How many times have I told you don't need to bring me something like this? I can just get by with the stuff inside the store. With all due respect, the food inside the store is not healthy enough for Master. Please refrain from eating such undesirable products. Oh, she's giving him orders. I received a specific order. Okay, I guess it's someone else's order. I received a specific order from Master's son that I should supervise and manage Master's diet. The man became silent at the mention of his son, but he soon snatched the lunchbox away letting out a loud snort. Then, as if he was trying to let out his anger, he hastily pried it open. An assortment of nutritious foods that he enjoyed was laid out before him. That bastard, pretending to worry so much. You're calling your son a bastard? Well, you would know, Dad. Even while carrying the lukewarm food to his mouth using a pair of chopsticks, the old man continued to complain. saying all of that and not even bothering to show up once in a while. How ungrateful. Yeah. That's why there's no point in having children. Running off doing whatever they want and leaving their parents behind after growing up. Tisk. Andrew tilted her modest-sized head in confusion. With all due respect, Master was the one who told his son, who was paying Master a visit for his birthday 2 years ago, to never show up again, and kicked him out of the house. That's because he kept talking nonsense. Every word that came out of his mouth was driving me insane, so how could I not do anything about it? It's not a reason to say never show up again, but whatever. As his voice began to rise, the Android lowered her head without a word. She appeared to be waiting for the old man's anger to settle down. 2 years had passed since the old man and his son had last saw each other. The monthly allowances and the birthday presents were delivered through an android. Those were the only connections remaining between them. The old man had always been on bad terms with his son. Whenever they met, they always ended up getting into a quarrel over something petty. This eventually led to a huge confrontation on his birthday 2 years ago. The argument escalated until the old man, who had finally reached his breaking point, decided to kick his son out of his home. Since the incident, they hadn't made any direct contact in 2 years. Their relationship had deteriorated to the point where they would only use the old man's silverware to keep in touch. From the son's perspective, Master may have come across as exceedingly cruel, but done nothing wrong. He had returned from overseas just to pay Master a visit, so perhaps it was insensitive of Master to drive him away only because of a minor argument. That's enough. This is nothing out of the ordinary. You should already know that. Nothing out of the ordinary. He tells his son to never return, regularly. Even so, I feel that this has been going on for too long this time. Even after a conflict, he always used to return from the following holiday as if nothing had happened. I am worried that the pain in the son's heart may be deeper than what Master believes. The old man did not reply. He had also been worried all this time. He always argued with his son, yet he did silently admit that this latest conflict had lasted far longer than usual. For a moment he began to worry that his son couldn't visit because something bad had happened to him. That was very unlikely. If his son hadn't been doing well, the silver would have already notified him. It was proof that his son was doing fine. Master, what is it? Master stopped moving his hand. Indeed, the old man had ceased moving his chopsticks. Keeping his hand stationary, the old man posed a question. It wasn't something he would normally ask. What has my son been doing lately? He appears to be running a successful business. I had heard that he has returned from his business trip overseas. I see, so he's in Korea at the moment. It's understandable why he couldn't pay a visit while overseas, but if he was presently in Korea, what was stopping him now? Maybe the fact that you told him never to return. Whatever. As the old man continued to stare at his lunchbox with a pained look, the android spoke up once more with her mechanical voice. Master, the food is getting cold. The old man closed the lid for his half-eaten lunchbox. Lost my appetite. Master has not yet consumed the required amount of nutrients. Moreover, Master has already skipped most of his breakfast. Instead of lost my appetite, how many times do I have to repeat myself? As the old man slammed his chopstick onto the counter, the android silently continued to stare at him. The look in her eyes implied that she still had a few things left to say. Master is... What is it? If you're going to speak up, at least finish your sentence. Following the old man's command, the android continued with her emotionless voice. With all due respect, I believe that Master has a tendency to get too angry with his son. I recommend that Master attempt to be more understanding of him. It was rare for the android to openly criticize him. As he wasn't used to such treatment, he couldn't help but furrow his brow. After a moment, he lowered his voice and replied calmly, You taking his side? I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm only advising that if Master wishes the situation with his son to improve, he must gain proper control over his emotions. You really think I get mad just because I want to? Of course not. The stuff he spouts in front of me just makes me lose my mind. It's his fault for being such an idiot. Isn't that because he's part of family? Just what are you talking about all of a sudden? The android stared at the old man intently. She opened her mouth to speak as she shook her head back and forth in hesitation. Evidently, she wasn't feeling very confident. The reason why Master gets so frustrated, isn't it because having a father-son bond causes one party to unconsciously expect something from the other and become frustrated when they don't follow through? I've never seen Master get so angry in front of other people. I'm an android, therefore I'm unable to properly gauge how these negative emotions are being formed inside Master. We do not have any unnecessary troublesome emotions programmed inside us, after all. But what? Since I will never be able to experience such emotions, sometimes I find myself being envious of that outside of humans. What nonsense. Just for a moment, the old man nearly forgot he was conversing with a machine. Andrew knew that the old man wanted the straightforward robotic version of her instead of the casual conversational one, so she rarely ever opened up to share her thoughts like this. The Jacan display stirred up a memory deep within the man's past, nearly forgotten till now. Now that I think about it, there was another android quite similar to you, the old man quietly mumbled. I can barely remember when that was. That was so long ago. My son once brought home a strange android. She was Lucy. The old man closed his eyes in an attempt to comb through the distant memories. She's a little different from you. Yes. She really seemed like a real person, that one. A real person. I've forgotten how she looked or sounded like. One thing I remember is that she was very talkative. She always get ahead of herself despite being only a robot. Android remained silent after the explanation, staring blankly at her master. And my understanding is that Master prefers a less talkative, laid-back android companion. I do, that's why I hated that android. My son and I used to argue over it all the time. What did you do with her? What do you mean? Her eyes slightly narrowed. The android, what did you do with her? Well, I'm not sure. Oh, that's convenient. Did Master continue using it? It was so long ago, I don't recall what exactly happened. Does that imply, the fact that he's lying, does that imply a bit of guilt there? Only then the old man could finally remember his son's heartbroken expression. At the time he was certainly at his most rebellious. Even before then the old man never had a good relationship with his son. Afterwards their conflict appeared to escalate in intensity and frequency. The old man wondered whether an alternate, less confrontational approach might have worked out better, but with a shake of his head he dismissed that thought. It would be pointless to dwell in the past. He had no intention to change either. The old man still despised androids and he believed that he hadn't done anything wrong. Yeah, I guess that part of the scene is still the same. How about making an apology? The old man, his hand flinched a little. He responded in anger. Quit talking nonsense. Oh, is it truly nonsense? I thought Master would want his relationship with his son to improve. Does Master not want to make peace with him? Stop it! How do you expect him to do such a thing? Master, there was a bit of hesitation, but it only lasted for a very short moment. With a mutely determined look, the android stared straight into the old man's eyes. I've served Master for a very long time, and am confident that I know more about Master than anyone else. I have more or less deduced what Master deems important in terms of values. Just what are you blabbering about? You're acting quite strange today. Isn't there something more important than Master's pride? Is there something more important that Master needs to consider? Instead of trying to save face, wouldn't it be wiser to drop his stubbornness once and for all? Oh, calling him out on it. The man didn't budge. Without agreeing or disagreeing, he sat in silence. While maintaining her blank expression, the android continued. Of course, I do realize such a task would be difficult to accomplish. But Master, I believe that sometimes it's important to swallow one's pride for the greater good. The man tore open one of the cigarette packs of the store display and lit one up. Typically, the android would have scolded him for such an unhealthy habit, but for some reason she did not say anything this time. Exhaling a cloud of smoke, the old man sighed. It'll be Master's birthday soon. Instead of holding a social gathering with Master's acquaintances, may I recommend a private session with Master's son to spend some quality time together? Sure are talkative today. The android lowered her head. Perhaps this is her own unique way of apologizing. The old man exhaled another cloud of smoke. Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to sit down and have a nice long chat with my son. The android raised her head to look at the old man once more. Then I'll make the preparations right away. Also, is it all right if I pay Master's son a visit and deliver the message in person this time? Although her voice sounded flat as usual, the old man could somehow sense a tinge of excitement coming from her. Is it really necessary that you go in person? To elaborate, the timing would coincide with the arrival of an android engineer for the annual model upgrade. I thought it would be a good idea to go into the city and get the upgrade there while delivering the message. Although things will be inconvenient for Master during my leave. If that's better for you, then go ahead. I'll be fine around here. I understand. Then I'll make the preparations to leave right away. Alright, good luck. It's just the fact that he wished her luck is, maybe he's improved a tiny bit. Several days flew by since their conversation. Several days. The android, who had been busy creating a schedule for all this time, was especially making a lot of racket today. When she was done, she bid farewell to the old man before she departed. Then I'll be making my leave now. If everything goes as planned, I expect to be back by the evening 2 days from today. Will it be taking that long? The trip itself should not take much time, but I must cater to both Master Sun and the android engineer's schedules. With the time constraints, it appears that I will have to meet up with the engineer for the upgrade first. What about my son? I'll be seeing him on the last day of the scheduled trip. I am planning to bring him back with the news of Master's birthday. Now please take this. The android handed the old man a piece of paper. What's this? It's a list of popular restaurants nearby. Each one offers a unique birthday set menu. It lists the foods they offer in great detail. That should be more than enough to go around, but I'd like to recommend Master to add in some of his son's favorite foods. If it's too much trouble, I can take care of the reservations and everything else, but I just thought it would be better if Master personally chose the menu himself. Alright, I'll take a look. Squinting, the old man scanned through the sheet of paper. Text is in a large font in consideration of the old man's vision, but he still had trouble reading it. It appeared that his eyes had gotten even worse. He took out a magnifying glass from his pocket to ease the strain. The silhouette was very thorough. She had listed the menu and price comparisons, cuisine critiques, as well as accompanying photos. Rice cakes, seaweed soup, assortment of veggies, crab soup, pork chops, beef ribs, stew, vegetable pancake, and so forth. All the menus were fairly similar with little diversity. Andrew appeared to have sensed the old man's distress. Is there something Master needs help with? I just don't know. Don't know what, Master? What my son likes. Yeah, see, he never got close to him. Never talked to him, did he? Just can't figure it out. All I ever did was give him allowance money, thinking he'll go find something to eat on his own. In this situation, it wouldn't have been that strange for others to judge him for not knowing what his son liked. Yes, I'm judging you. I am judging you. But he wasn't talking to a real person. The android quietly began writing something down on the other sheet of paper and soon handed it over to the man. I tried listing the foods that Master's son might enjoy. I should mention that the data is more than 2 years old, so it might not be the most accurate. However, I do believe it will serve as a good reference point. The man slowly took the sheet of paper. He couldn't bring himself to praise her for her efforts, mostly because he was shocked by the fact that a mere android knew more about his son than he did. I just thought boys like him would do fine growing up on their own. Master? Forget it. That'll be all. A puzzled look lingered on the silhouette's face, but she soon departed with a bow. Does he actually believe what he's saying, or did he make a conscious choice to leave his son alone, or because he thought that he would do better, or is that just rationalizing? Anyway, and the old man was instantly enveloped by deafening silence, except for the ticking clock. Apparently, he could only hear the loud ticking of the clock. Appearing as if he was having trouble getting used to the emptiness, the old man weakly made his way towards his bedroom. This recording is going to be over an hour, but I'm going to continue on to the end. The day had passed since the android's departure. Today was a day no different than any other, yet it felt far from normal for the old man. In the Silverbird's absence, the old man had to take over all of her chores, which is no walk in the park. Even the simplest tasks, such as cooking, were proving to be quite an effort. The old man found preparing the meal bothersome, so he decided to skip breakfast and headed straight to the store. Doesn't even know how to prepare breakfast. However, without food to sustain, the old man quickly succumbed to fatigue. He also didn't have a proper lunch, as there was no android to bring him food. Said he made do with a handful. Made do with a handful of rice balls from the store shelves. He set aside some time during work to make a reservation for his birthday meal. The old man chose the restaurant he thought the young people would prefer. He was notified the delivery would be made tomorrow at around 5 p.m. After a busy day of work, which felt much longer than usual, the man dragged his tired body home. This section is dragging a bit, but it's going somewhere. I'm trusting it to go somewhere. It's going somewhere. When the old man arrived home, he was too tired to cook up a proper meal, so he ate a bunch of nearly expired snacks brought home from the store. Afterwards, he neatly folded up and put away his clothes instead of leaving them lying around the house like he usually did. Yeah, I mean, I say it's dragging on, but it's establishing character. It's establishing, how dependent he's gotten on on the android, and maybe it'll factor into the meeting with his son later. Deeming it too much effort to run a bath, he opted for a quick shower. Then he ran a laundry load through the washing machine and tied it up around the house. This is what the android had always done for the old man. He clearly didn't have the same amount of energy he used to have when he was young. He was no longer at an age where he would be able to do everything on his own. The old man began to feel thankful that he had someone that he could take care of all the chores for him. Probably would have never felt that this way if his body hadn't been so weak. The old man had the most trouble adjusting to was this air of melancholy. Certainly his android wasn't the most outgoing. That was because she was instructed to keep everything simple and to the point. It's what the old man preferred. Even so, there was a lot of bustle while the Silverite attended to the numerous household chores. The sound of soup boiling in the kitchen, the clank of dishes in the dishwasher, the humming of the running washing machine, and the vacuum cleaner. The house always used to be alive with activity. He was able to hear someone else's presence. But now there's nothing. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Only the sound of the clock rang in the stillness. The fact that the old man was doing everything on his own without anyone helping him, and the fact that there was no one to see him about when he went to work and greet him when he returned was unexpectedly tough on him. He realized just how much he relied on the android. He could feel how much the Silverite he used to hate was being a big help in many ways. While lying in bed with nothing to do, the old man tried to picture himself in his son's shoes when he was young. The deathly quiet house. $10 bills stacked on top of the kitchen table instead of a warm meal. The old man imagined his son picking up with an unhappy look on his face. Imagine how his son would have felt being all alone at home while listening to the sound of the clock ticking away, waiting for his parents to return late at night. Only then he could finally understand how that old android, whose name he had now forgotten, could have been such a big help to his son back then. They say people require less sleep as they age, but the old man felt particularly restless that night. Now we're entering the day of the reunion, I hope. Today was the big day. In the evening, the android would return with the old man's son. The old man took a light shower. After brushing his teeth and combing his hair, he made his way towards the living room, feeling refreshed. This seems to be the laundry room. They have a separate background for the bathtub and shower and all that, or whatever. Oh well. It was a day off from his work, but he had other reasons to bustle around the house. Rather than standing around until the food arrived, the old man decided to occupy himself with some chores. He first checked for any messy spots around the house. Just go through all the backgrounds now, I guess. The house was clean. Since the android had always kept up with her chores, that was to be expected. There wasn't any work left for the old man to do, so at the very least he decided to check the kitchen tablecloth. He took away the aged dust-speckled one that laid out a fresh one with a sleek design. Then he brought out a pack of colored candles, which he never had any chance to use. He also took out an assortment of fruits and veggies from the fridge. Since the android had already peeled off all the skins and cut them into pleasing shapes, he just needed to give them the finishing touches. Yeah, this should be good enough, the old man muttered to himself while viewing the table full of food. It was the house that the old man had lived in for as long as he could remember, but he had never seen the place brighten up as much as today. He thought about how he never had many chances to sit down and eat with his family. So this time, there's a bit of backstory there. Anyway. So this time at least, he wanted to savor a warm, intimate meal with his son. Sorry. Oh, when he said never got to eat with his family, was he referring to like his own parents back and further in the day, or is he talking about eating with his son? But anyway, while rummaging about, the old man came across a room that hadn't been used for ages. It was his son's room. The room had remained vacant after his son moved out. It's getting late, so he might stay over the night. With the intention to clean the room, the old man opened the door. Is it going to be the same? Yeah. Now it's cleaned out. The old man found himself in shock. The room was so clean, to the point that no one would believe it hadn't been used in years. The old man dragged his finger across numerous surfaces, but not a single speck of dust was to be seen. It appeared that Andrew had been cleaning the room every day. Had she been doing that just for the sake of cleaning the entire house, or had she been anticipating the day his son would finally return? The old man could not tell. Oh, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the delivery arrived. So far, this has all been the same as the old man's wish, the previous version of the thing. Since he had added numerous side dishes, it came up to be quite a large amount of food. It wasn't something 2 people would be able to finish, but that was alright. You could always save the leftovers for later. He tried the delivered food onto dishes and bowls and set them on the table. The old man took all the dishes containing foods that his son might enjoy and placed them on the side of the table. He did not bother placing candles on top of the rice cake. It would be embarrassing to sing a birthday song and blow out candles at his age. He filled it with the candle placements in an attempt to create the ideal atmosphere. He also prepared a bottle of fine wine that hadn't been opened for 10 years. Soon, the old man's very special guest would be arriving. Okay, so we're approaching the point where hopefully this diverges from the old man's wishes, the old man's wish scene, which I previously watched. 7:15 in the evening. Uh-oh. Could it be that he was running a little late? It was the time the android had promised, yet the doorbell did not ring. The old man strove to be patient. After all, it had been 2 years since they last met. Waiting a few more hours wouldn't hurt. Yeah, in the previous version, it goes well into night, and before Android shows up alone and with the note, and his son isn't there, and she just says, the note just says basically, it's better if we don't see each other anymore. He tried to think up some topics he would be able to discuss with his son. He had no intention of ending his meal with a fight when it had been so long since he last ate with him. The old man did some rehearsals in his head. That also informs his character, the fact that he has poor social skills, that he has to make up conversations in his head instead of, like, asking how are you doing or something like that, or asking his son, finding out about what his son is doing and so on. That would, it's a more sensible way to make conversation. But anyway, he thought about how he would start and carry the conversation. He reminded himself that he would need to pay extra attention to his quick temper. Two hours passed in the blink of an eye. The clock now read 9:25. Then I started to worry if something had happened to his son. He considered giving him a call, but stopped himself. He decided to wait a little longer. So, meanwhile, the food's been sitting there for 4 hours. After about 10 minutes, the doorbell that the old man had painstakingly been waiting for finally rang. Suppressing the urge to rush out, he slowly made his way towards the front door. Huh? Is he going to be there? A silhouette of a person entered the old man's vision as he opened the door. It's the new model of this android. An unfamiliar woman was standing before him. With the help of the serial code embedded on her body, he was able to deduce that it was his android. This happened every year. She was just inside a new body. There was no need to be surprised. Andrew made a small bow towards the old man. I have returned. How have things been? How come you're so late? There were some unexpected delays. Okay, but the old man looked past the android. But there wasn't anyone else besides her. Where's my son? There's no reply. The old man anxiously inquired once more, where is my son? Unfortunately, he had other business to attend to. My apologies. Despite the silverwood's flat tone of voice, the gesture of deeply bowing her head conveyed sincere remorse. Okay, so it's still the same. Is that so? Michael's not coming, huh? I'm very sorry. It's all my fault. Andrew apologized once more. How did she figure that? Lacking the energy to reply, the old man weakly hobbled back inside the house. Okay, so The scene is called Reunion. When's the reunion going to happen? The old man's stare lingered on the prepared table full of food. Much to his chagrin, he found it difficult to conceal his sadness from the android. First birthday meal I've prepared in a long time has gone to complete waste now. Not that I can finish this on my own. Andrew's head lowered even further. Perhaps she was feeling guilty. So who's speaking here? Oh, it's not your fault. It couldn't be helped that he was busy. Raise your head. How uncharacteristically not mean of him. Actually, I have brought a letter from him. A letter? What's it about? Andrew shook her head from side to side. It appeared that she did not know herself. The old man sat up in his chair and prepared himself. Would you mind reading it for me? My eyesight was quite poor. Andrew nodded and took out the letter. She spread out the long piece of white paper and began to read, making sure to pronounce each word clearly. Father, I hope you've been doing well. First and foremost, I'd like to say happy birthday and thank you for inviting me to your party. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive your son who is sending a letter to you due to unforeseen circumstances instead of paying you a visit in person. The news formality continued for a little longer before finally delving into the main topic. It appears that 2 years have passed since the last time I was in touch with you. These years have felt both short and long, and have allowed me to think over many things. About this father-son relationship where we frequently quarrel. With this twisted relationship where we end up scowling whenever we see each other. I've had more than enough time to mull it over. I pondered over why we always fought over even the pettiest things. Why both of us were so quick to anger whenever we came to a disagreement. And why we couldn't avoid these conflicts. Time and time again I tried to figure out why. I tried to grasp why your family is so detestable, and soon enough, after thinking it over while putting myself in your shoes, I began to understand your feelings to a certain degree. I began to understand what you wanted from me, what you expected from me. In short, this other paused momentarily, waiting did not last very long, but despite your hesitation she continued to speak. It appears that we are simply incompatible. A small moan escaped from the old man's mouth. For the past 2 years I realized that much like you have your own ways of doing things, I have my own. We have conflicting values and beliefs, and neither of us are is willing to compromise. Indeed, by cutting off all communication between us, I believe both you and I will be able to lead happier lives. I see that some people were simply meant to clash with one another. Much like a relationship between a mother-in-law and a wife, hopeless relationships can always exist where you just end up despising one another no matter what. That's such an odd comparison. Like, he's stating it as though a relationship between a mother-in-law and wife is always bad in all circumstances, and it's a foregone conclusion that everyone knows. Like, that is the implication of this sentence here. I don't know. Maybe I just lack the context to understand that perspective, but I don't know. Is there some just weird gendered social rules or something? I don't know. Anyway, Father, perhaps we were born to end up in that sort of relationship. From now on, I ask you to continue on your chosen path. So I shall press onward on mine, despite not being the one you would have favored. I've chosen to sever all my ties with you. I believe that will be best for both of us. Andrew will act on my behalf and offer assistance to the best of her ability. Thank you for everything up until now. Goodbye. Okay, this scene was called Reunion. It was called Reunion. Where's this reunion? And like that, the letter ended. With eyes closed, the old man sat quietly in his chair. He smiled bitterly as he digested the words from the letter. The atmosphere was suffocating. Andrew did not know what to do for the old man who was sunken in depression. What had interrupted the long-lasting silence was the sound of weeping. The old man broke free from his shock and slowly opened his eyes. Are you crying? Sniff, sniff. Silverite trembled, whilst clenching the letter. Oh. It was Lucy's the new android? Silverade trembled whilst clenching the letter tightly in her hands. Only then the old master could finally remember. The android standing before him looked strikingly similar to the one from his past memories. It seems that you are not my android. Sniff, sniff. Your face. I finally remember now. You're the android from before. The one my son brought home so long ago. It's Lucy. It's Lucy Valentine, Father. Hmm. I see. So he built you back up from scratch. How obstinate. The old man stared at the sobbing android in silence. As if he was trying to comfort the android, he soon began to talk about his past. I've always lived my life to the fullest. Indeed, the old man had lived a busy life. I don't know about anything else, but when it came to my job, I'm confident that I worked harder than anyone else. He must have an interesting definition of the phrase living life to the fullest. If he's like being antisocial his whole life and doesn't know what to do with himself if he's not working. Whatever. The old man had dedicated most of his life to his career, even volunteering for additional assignments and doing overtime late into the night. His performance was unrivaled in terms of professional quality and outright enthusiasm. He became the envy of all those around him and gained an infinite amount of recognition and trust from his employers. Such an impressive work ethic did not go unnoticed. After constantly increasing my performance and building up a lot of experience, eventually came to earn a lot of respect from my coworkers. That inspired me to work even harder. Soon the promotions naturally came along. He had started out as a normal employee. One day he found himself promoted to manager. When the relatively small company he'd been supervising began to gain traction and expand to multiple locations, he was promoted to director. I later remarried a colleague of mine. She knew nothing about work, much like myself, and was very fond of her. Perhaps you could say that she was the perfect match for me. The old man smiled at the memory. In the end, I was forced into early retirement. I made a foolish mistake and had to shoulder the blame. Oh? But still, I want people to know that what I built up is not something anyone can achieve. Starting out as a normal employee and being promoted all the way up to a director is an incredible feat. It's fruition of my sweat and tears. Time is limited. If one gains something by investing time, they will also have to let go of something. In order for me to achieve what I desired, I had to give up many things. Time with my son, time with my wife, time with my family. I had to give up all of them for work. Time I could have spent with my family was all invested in my job. I was able to succeed only because I had that kind of dedication. You must have hated me for thinking of nothing but work. It's the same with my first wife who ran away long ago. I suppose as a father, as a husband, I failed miserably. Well, it's the first time he's acknowledged that. But I still wanted him to take after me. Indeed you did. After seeing my dedication, after seeing all the things I was able to achieve, I wanted my son to take after me and live his own life to the fullest. I wanted to show him how much respect and recognition one can gain from working hard. Yet, it seems I failed to earn the respect of my own son. Citation needed. Sorry. Did you actually earn respect for it, though? It's... Whatever. Anyway. At some point, Lucy had stopped crying. She was listening to the hoarse voice with sorrowful eyes. I'm not trying to make an excuse. I don't regret anything either. Life didn't have so little meaning that I could dismiss it with a single regret. If I could go back to the past, I would still live my life prioritizing work over anything else. However, perhaps I could have been more flexible about it. My top priority in life always has and will be work. But perhaps I could have made a better effort to cherish my family at the same time. Maybe I could have tried to find some time, at least once or twice a week, to be able to have dinner as a family. But enough of this. What's done is done. I've lost everything already. What's the point? The old man's gaze returned to the food on the table. Dishes he had ordered specifically for his son would probably be thrown out or shared with neighbors because his weak teeth wouldn't be able to handle most of them. The old man rose to clean up the table. It was at that moment. It will come back. It will come back. The android suddenly spoke up with her eyes full of tears. Despite being on the verge of breaking down, her voice remained clear. Father's birthday will come back. This year's birthday might be over, but it will return next year. And the following year, too. Today is not Father's last birthday. Although it's regrettable that Father could not spend the day together with his son, it will definitely be possible next year. Isn't that right? That was exactly what the old man had been dying to hear. He suddenly wanted to believe in those sweet, hopeful words. But at the same time, he knew they were only coated with nonsense. The old man shook his head. You saw the letter. He's never coming back. He'll be paying me a visit for my next birthday or any after that. He's already made that decision. It's all over now. I will try to convince him. Perhaps the situation will improve by next year. If it doesn't work out by then we can always look towards the year after that. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, it doesn't matter how long it will take. I will continue to try my hardest until he decides to listen to my words. I'll definitely convince Master and pay Father a visit together. There's no such thing as a hopeless relationship. Master may have written down those words, but such cruel relationships do not exist in this world. I will prove it. I will host a birthday party where Master and Father will be able to enjoy their time together. That is why I would like to ask of Father to wait patiently in good health. Please trust in Master and I, and wait for us. For the most of his life, the old man had despised androids. The machine that makes people lazy. The machine that steals people's jobs. The machine that threatens mankind's dominance. That's telling of his attitude anyway. Worthless imitation that only makes people miserable. He knew. Yet, for some reason, his eyes began to well up with tears. I must be getting old. Able to find comfort in the words of a mere robot. How weak I've truly become. The old man dragged his frail body and approached the android. Head pats. It's just as you say. My birthday will always return. Next year, I'd love to be able to spend the day with my son. With you too, of course. Father. The old man patted the android's head with his wrinkled hand, as if he was standing before his own granddaughter. As if he was standing before a real person, he patted her head affectionately. The old man mused. His current self was now able to pat an android. It wasn't exactly a remarkable accomplishment, but it was something that had been possible before. The old man continued to make such progress, and perhaps one day the conflict between himself and his son may finally be resolved. And like that, the old man looked towards a hope-filled future. Is that the end? We're not going to actually see a reunion between father and son? Or is there going to be another flash forward? Extra unlocked, extra big slot. Okay, so yeah, so the reunion was between father and Lucy, not between father and son. Confess I'm a bit disappointed by that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like, like I like that plot twist on one level. I mean, I think it's cool. I just generally think subverting audience expectations is cool. It's kind of my thing in my own fan fiction that I've written. I guess I kind of hoped for shall we say, like a more cathartic resolution, more reunion between father and son. Because I can't help relating it to my own relationship with my own father. Um, just because I have had a haven't had a pleasant relationship, and um, he's stubborn and difficult, and and also hit me while I was growing up, and and I don't know. I mean, I'm long past the point of I'm long past the point where, like, I'm able to just disregard the nonsense that he spouts, that in terms of like all the times when I was growing up that he'd put me down, make me doubt myself, or otherwise I'll say and do all the things that have contributed to my depression and anxiety issues that plagued me into adulthood. And I just try to brush it off and tune it out and remind myself, he doesn't care. I used to have a mantra going on in my head. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Like it doesn't. Because I mean, I had that mantra to help me reconcile my feelings about it and move past it, because it doesn't make sense for me to let his words and actions affect me so much when he's not around. Because to spend time living in resentment of him, because meanwhile he's going about his life, and he doesn't care. He's not letting it affect him. So I have to try not to care about it too. And so that's what I'm saying is, like, I can identify with the protagonist not wanting to reconcile with his father, because it's been so long, and they're so long past the point where he's like, I want nothing more to do with this, because you're just a drain on my mental health, and you do nothing but hold me back with all the by feeding me self-doubt and so on. So yeah, on that level, I guess I kind of hoped that this would turn into like a happy reunion between father and son, because on some level I guess I would like some kind of reunion like that with my own father. I mean, I visit my parents from time to time, but it's always uncomfortable, and I have to brace myself before going that for whatever he's going to say, and just be guarded, and it's just uncomfortable. Yeah. So yeah, great plot twist. Didn't have the catharsis I was hoping for. I guess is what I'm getting at. It's just I don't know. I guess I just feel a bit disappointed. I feel sort of what? No. I feel sort of bad about saying that I feel disappointed by it. I guess, I mean, it's a really well it's a really well written story. Honestly, it is. It's a little. I don't know how to feel about the fact that You know, as much as protagonist Dr. Ryu um, said in the letter that he doesn't expect to reconcile anything at any time in the future, um, the fact that he sent Lucy to live with his father, apparently, um, that like that in itself seems to imply uh, that Dr. Ryu um, foresees some future with them. Because after spending all those years rebuilding her, why would he give her up? Unless he expected to come back again, you know? Um, and, you know, considering that he apparently spent 15 years anguishing over her, obviously she means a lot to him, and what am I trying to say here? She means a lot to him, and I believe that she of all people would be able to convince him to reconcile with his father. So there actually is hope, you know, even though we don't see it happen in the story here. I think on some like the fact that he gave up Lucy, they gave Lucy over to his father. I think it's going. There are definitely strong indications that it's going to lead to a reunion between father and son. So yeah, it's one of those hope for the future kind of endings, which is cool. Yeah, except there's something unlocked in the extras. Is that right? Dr. Bake's log. What's that about? There's another thing here. So what's this about? Oh crap! Is this going to another big long scene? I hope this isn't too long. This recording's already an hour and a half. Dr. Bake's log. Lucy Valentine. She was quite the exceptional one. Greatest invention I've ever conceived. Oh, is this the first Doctor before protagonist found her? No, it wouldn't be so far-fetched to say it was the greatest invention in all of mankind, the perfect human replica that no one has ever been able to create. I had succeeded in producing something that incredible. An existence capable of thinking and acting like a human. An existence capable of replacing any human in any industry. It was the perfect robot that everyone had only been dreaming about since the past. Indeed, that was why it was a problem. That was why we could not release it into the world. Human beings were not yet capable of comprehending such an existence. Humans have always shunned other beings with superior intellect. Some even question how androids are better than us. Saying that they're artificially created beings being unnatural by design. Therefore, the conclusion is that androids are inferior to humans. However, our sense of worth is in constant flux. Take how certain cyber currencies that used to be near worthless in the past are now more valuable than real money. Take how sports, which used to be played purely for fun, are now become a multi-billion-dollar business. It's fascinating how rapidly one's views can change. That life may be something that holds an inexplicable value today, but that may very well change with time. So, life may be something that holds an inexplicable value today, but that may very well change with time. Androids possess a near infinite lifespan. Unlike humans, they don't die, per se. They are immune to diseases and can be easily repaired when damaged. And there are many other advantages that we humans do not possess. They may be artificial, but the truth may be that they are far superior to us. In a future world full of androids, it may be humans who become obsolete. People are just recognizing this danger and reacting accordingly. Truthfully speaking, I am also afraid. If androids like her were operating in our society by the millions, I wonder if there really will be any place left on this planet for humans. Will humans still be able to retain their prominent dominance? I have no confidence in that. That is why I understand why they're choosing to get rid of her. I am part of the human race, after all. And I have a son whose entire life is still ahead of him. but I could not bear to witness her destruction. My lifelong masterpiece to be erased at a whim, it would be no different than being sentenced to death. That is why I decided to secretly conceal Lucy within the junkyard. It wouldn't have been possible without the aid of a human named... Sorry, without the aid of a man named Zerial, who was a lab official at the time. A man named Zerial. Okay, wasn't Zerial the name of the company? Now I'm suddenly doubting myself. The guy who visited the shop earlier on in the game, he had Zerial written on his outfit. I was under the impression that Zerial was the name of the company. Is this the guy who created that company? Is this like a huge flashback, or I'm confused. Anyway, I'm moving on. Even though I was the one who had put myself into this mess, he did not hesitate to lend me a hand. I owe him a great deal. I recoded the interior of the junkyard robots so they wouldn't touch her. I implemented a command to restrict most of her advanced features. It was a necessary precaution so that she would be kept safe and hidden. If a normal person takes her away, he wouldn't be able to unlock her full potential. There was that comment right at the beginning about having some extra protocols locked away. However, someone familiar with androids may possibly uncover what she's truly capable of. I was able to suppress my stubbornness this way. After that, I left Lucy behind the junkyard. Then I waited for someone to appear. And find a use for the android. I don't know when that day will come. It could be tomorrow, it could be months away. It may even take years. No one knows what the future will bring. But at the very least, I wanted Lucy to be accepted by someone. So it's possible she was lying there for years then. Maybe that Mr. Zerial really was the founder of the Zerial company, and it's been like an entire generation passed or something. Like, I don't know. The timeline is confusing me in this. Is this a flashback? Maybe this is a flash forward. I don't know. Because she disappeared without ever seeing the light of day, it would mean that my entire life had gone to waste. Achievement unlocked, hidden diary. Is there going to be another one? Another thing to unlock? Is that last little question mark thing? Is it going to be something here now? Apparently not. Did I miss any achievements? Oh. Congratulations, all of the achievements 100% complete. Okay. Actually, there you go. Developer comments. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah, was it, anything new in the CG gallery? Yeah. There's one more. There's still one more. They like hiding stuff in this. Heh. Congratulations. Where's my episode? Defender. Hello, I'm Defender, who is responsible for character CG and UI design for this game remake. Remake? Really? Is this a remake or something? Huge and impressive inspired after I played the original Lucy game in 2010. I've always... Oh, okay. So this is a remake of an old game, I guess. I've always wanted to make a game that can touch the heart of others for quite a long time. The creation of the art pieces of this product was something that I put my heart and soul into, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to do so. Hope that I was able to capture the feeling and emotions of the original game in this recreation. Thank you for playing, and have a nice day. Okay, so we've got the father there. There's Mr. Zerial, and the Silveroid from the final scene. There's the repairman. There's Andrew. I guess that's supposed to be protagonist. Dr. Gears, and two other people who I don't think appear. I don't think they appeared in the game. Not that I saw, anyway. Chaos. Hey, I'm Chaos, the developer of this game. The visual novels were something that I've always wanted to create, and upon meeting this great team of amazing people, I knew I found my fit. There were many challenges and difficulties in the creation of this game, and it couldn't have been done without everyone's great determination and effort. I hope you enjoy this lovely and love this game as much as we did. SR. Hello, I'm SR, the scenario writer and the director of the game. The creation of professionally produced video game has always been a dream of mine. I am extremely happy to be able to finally release this game to the players. The construction has been a long and enduring process, but an enjoyable one, and I hope to create other games in the future. I hope you enjoy this game as much as I did, and I hope you come back to see what's in store of the future. I hope I'm not. I'm hoping this isn't boring. Okay, I guess that's it. Okay, so yeah. That was the last CG. There they all are. Yeah, there's Lizzie. Okay, so yeah, so that was Lucy the Attorney She Wished For. I don't know what else to say that I haven't already said. We didn't get that 20-year later epilogue thing that we got in the original ending. I kind of wanted to find out a little more about how the protagonist turned out, aside from spending 15 years trying to rebuild Lucy. Because that was the thing, like I said in the previous video, I kind of wondered how he would turn out in that 20-year later epilogue versus how he would turn out if like he had Lucy's influence. It seems he ended up spending 15 years obsessing over Lucy, which probably isn't the healthiest thing quite frankly. I mean, I can imagine his personal relationships would have suffered in that time, obsessing over an android from his childhood. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. I guess it just. I kind of feel like there were some unanswered questions and some things left unexplored. Endings, bittersweet with the sense of hope for the future. Yeah, I don't know. There's some other things. I guess there were some things that I had hoped for that didn't occur. But overall, I don't know. I guess it didn't blow me away as much as Maddie set it up to. It's definitely a very well put together. There's beautiful music, beautiful artwork. It's a very well written story. Great characters, characterization. Very very believable characters and character interaction. I just kind of hoped that ending resolution would just bring a little either bring a little something more or just I don't know. It might just be my own personal biases, like I prattled on about earlier, like with my own relationship with my own father, and I had hoped. I guess I had hoped to see some kind of resolution because his father's stubborn asshole for the whole thing. But oh well. Hope for the future. I guess that's the lesson today. So yeah, those are my closing thoughts. I guess I got nothing else in this unfiltered, unedited thing. I should probably learn how to do video editing. If I make this more interesting, but oh well. That's enough for now. So yeah, until next time.